everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Movie Crusaders. My name's Sean Wasserkrug, and today we're going to be reviewing the, I wouldn't say long-awaited, but a sequel that has been 27, I think, years in the making. Damn, 27 years. Wow, and we're talking about Space Jam: A New Legacy. I think for most people, especially my age, we grew up with Space Jam. The story of Michael Jordan with the Looney Tunes playing a game of basketball. I think anyone who's a basketball fan has seen Space Jam at some point. Anyone who's a fan of the Looney Tunes has seen Space Jam at some point. We all know the music, whether it be, wow, I Believe I Can Fly. I was like, I blinked on it real quick there. Or, Get Ready for the Jam, Welcome to the Space Jam. I mean, they had a great soundtrack. We all played, especially when we were at the skating rinks every Friday nights. I know most of you people my age were definitely doing that. Wow, I just dated myself really bad on that. But this time around, we are now getting, quote unquote, the next greatest NBA basketball player of all time, right next to Jordan, debatable to a lot of people I know, LeBron James. LeBron James has decided to revitalize the Space Jam franchise by now being the new character to get thrown into the world of playing basketball with the Looney Tunes. The big, I think, benefit that LeBron has over Jordan is that we've seen LeBron James in films before, and he's not bad in other films. Like I think most people will say Trainwreck. He did a solid job in Trainwreck, which I agree. He was funny in Trainwreck. He was basically playing himself for the most part, but he was having fun shooting that film. And that's the one thing that I felt like this was a benefit for Space Jam, is because Michael Jordan does not know how to act. He's not a good actor at all. And that's one of the worst things about Space Jam, is that the Looney Tunes and Wayne Knight and always the amazing Bill Murray are all there, and all the cartoons are there, but then Michael Jordan's wooden as hell acting just makes it unbearable to watch nowadays. So that was one thing that we were looking forward to, especially with Space Jam: A New Legacy with LeBron, plus Don Cheadle. I mean, it's Don Cheadle. Don Cheadle's amazing as basically the villain in the film, plus just a newer kind of spin on the story and kind of seeing where they go with it. Now, that's most of the good. Now let's talk about the issues with Space Jam: A New Legacy. And this is gonna come out of right field, because let's put it this way, that's how the movie is. It's right out of right field. We get kind of the story of how LeBron's the greatest. We get kind of a whole highlight reel of LeBron being the best player of all time, and it's Don Cheadle who's algorithm watching him. He's a algorithm. Who's watching LeBron James and figures for Warner Brothers, LeBron James should be the new face of the company and studio, and they should make all these movies because LeBron James is the king. Now we go to LeBron in his world with his sons Dom and Darius, and basically it's the same story we've seen many, many times before with an overbearing dad who wants their kid to be just like them and put the hard work in that they did to be successful, but that kid has dreams of aspiring to something else, where in this case for the Dom character played by Cedric Joe, it is to make video games and not necessarily play basketball. Like, he loves basketball, but not the way LeBron James loves basketball, but he loves making video games, but LeBron just can't see that or understand that or really basically show any kind of positivity towards Dom. The main problem with this is that, like I said earlier, LeBron James is not a bad actor. I've seen him do good acting, especially in Trainwreck. In this film, it's almost like he embodied Michael Jordan. There are so many times where he delivers lines either with so quick and no emotion that you're just like, please, LeBron, show me some kind of feeling that you're actually giving a crap about what you're filming here and not just reading a cue card off of Saturday Night Live. Because there are times where he's talking to his son and he is having some serious moments, some serious conversations, and it just feels like he's not acting the scene. He's just reading the lines like he's practicing it before they hit cut. or before they hit action. And it's really kind of disappointing because I've seen LeBron do better than this. But then when he's eventually turned animated in the film and is working as a cartoon with the voice work, it's better. It's definitely better. He actually starts acting a little bit more. When he's playing basketball, he's acting better in that part, probably because he's more relaxed because he's playing basketball. But when he's having these moments where he's having to stand there and he's the lead actor of the scene and he's having to control the scene, you can tell LeBron James is definitely out of his element and is not doing what the lead actor of a film should be able to do, which is carry the film. On the other hand, Don Cheadle is having a blast as Algae Rhythm. He is having so much fun chewing up the screen, and he's probably the most enjoyable part of the film is just watching Don Cheadle basically go to the 10th degree of just being over the top, which if you like Don Cheadle, this is going to be good for you. If you don't like Don Cheadle, you're going to hate this. But I feel like that's what really, to me, saves the film for the most part is Don Cheadle's Algae Rhythm's performance, and then his sidekick, I think it's Pete, who's basically just a knockoff of Wally. Well, he's basically a knockoff of the Microsoft staple guy, or like the paperclip, but he talks like Wally, which is kind of like okay, you're basically just copying stuff. The other main problem you have with Space Jam is that it's just incredibly overbloated, convoluted, and unfocused. It basically, and excuse my French here, I know this is a kid's film, that Warner Brothers just basically wanted to circle jerk each other in this film by basically going, you see all these franchises we got? Yeah, we're awesome. Let's just throw it down your throat, and you'll be like, ooh, there's this, and you guys are going to care about a plot because we're just going to throw everything we got at you, and you're just going to go, ooh, pretty, like Ready Player One did. But here's the thing. Ready Player One actually has a fucking plot. Space Jam New Legacy has a bare-bones plot, which is basically Don Cheadle kidnaps LeBron and Dom and basically says, I challenge you to a game of basketball. If you lose, you stay here forever, and I delete the Looney Tunes. And then if you win, you guys all get to go back home. But the problem is with that story is that by the time we get to the third act, the stakes get ridiculously over the top high to the point where this is more important than a basketball game at this point. And people's lives are at risk now, which this is just a game of basketball. I mean, like with the first Space Jam, it was Jordan and the Looney Tunes that they lost. They would go to, I'm forgetting the main bad guy's name in the first film, but they go and they'll work on his planet for the rest of their lives. It's not capturing millions of people and forcing them to live in this simulated world. And it's just like, you're going to rest this all on a basketball game. It's just kind of ridiculous to think about that, especially since a lot of the people there 3 minutes into the game seem to be just kind of okay with that and not freaking out like they're going to be trapped for the rest of their lives. It just makes no sense. The other thing part about it too is the Looney Tunes are just kind of inconsequential in this film. It's rinse and repeat for the Looney Tunes in this film, especially when it comes to the basketball playing. And then also forcing them into scenes of other films that Warner Brothers owns. It was funny the first time we saw it where Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote are in Mad Max Fury Road. That was great. But by the time we see it a second time and a third time and a fourth time, we get Granny in The Matrix and Lola Bunny and Wonder Woman. It's just, or Foghorn Leghorn in Game of Thrones. It's over the top, and it's nauseating how bad they're trying to do this stuff now, to the point where it's just like, we get it, Warner Brothers. You have all this stuff. I don't care. I care about this story, not all your properties you have. And then it even gets even more distracting when we get to the actual game, when they have thousands and thousands of extras courtside dressed like Pennywise or dressed like Mr. Freeze or Penguin or Joker or Mr. Agent Smith or name any other Warner Brothers character. They're dressed up. And the thing is that they don't even look good. They look like bad cosplayers dressed up as these characters. If you're gonna do it right. Ready Player One did it right. When they were using properties of and having these cameos, they looked like those actual people. Like, they have a Mr. Freeze character in here that's supposed to look like Arnold, who just looks like a bald dude who's blue. And Pennywise looks nothing like Pennywise. He's just a skinny dude dressed like Pennywise. It just looks lazy, and it looks like it wasn't well thought out. And it's just more of annoying than a nuisance because it's distracting you from what you're trying to watch, which is a story and this game. I would get more into the other, human cast, but they're basically pointless in this film. I love Sonequa Martin Green from The Walking Dead, and she's also in Star Trek Discovery, but she's utterly pointless in this film. Chris Davis as LeBron's best friend Malik, utterly wasted in this film. Sayer J. Wright, who plays Darius James, I liked where he was starting in the beginning of the film, but he's completely shelved for the rest of the movie, except for just being a body that stands there. The Looney Tunes, yes, Bugs gets a lot to do. Lola is great. Zendaya voices Lola, and she does a fantastic job in this. But there's a lot of favorite characters in this film who kind of just get pushed by the wayside. And they focus on other characters that aren't really important, like Granny or the big red furry guy. I don't even remember his name, where it's like Marvin the Martian doesn't really get a whole lot to do outside of 2 scenes. Foghorn Leghorn, Yosemite Sam, Sylvester. A lot of these characters that are beloved. Daffy Duck also kind of gets a short line by being the coach. Doesn't get a whole lot to do. But it's missing the essence of what Space Jam was, which is a fun family film, straightforward. It's a basketball game with Michael Jordan against a bunch of cartoons. And this movie, it's not even a basketball game. It's basically NBA Jam on steroids. And at that point, it's not even a basketball game anymore. It's all about how bonkers and crazy you can get to score style points. At one point, they something happens in the match or in the game, and it's a 700-point score, and it's 700-0. Like right at the beginning of the game, it's like, what the hell am I watching? Even to the point where like the commentators, Ernie Johnson and Little Rel, is commentating. They're like, I don't know what the hell's going on. Well, you're not the only one, Ernie, because I don't know what the hell's going on. Does it look cool? Yes. The new Goon Squad, Anthony Davis, Dame Lillard, Klay Thompson, Diana Taurasi, and Nika Uguamike. I butchered that, and I apologize. They're all in here, and their characters are awesome looking. They look great, but the problem is that the camera is so focused up close that some of the cool shots and cool scenery things that we get to see them do is so quick and just all over the place that you don't really get to see it because it's just so like I just said in the last review about the neon coloring of Gunpowder Milkshake. It works to the advantage. The neon coloring in this film works as a disadvantage. It's almost like Speed Racer, where it's nauseating because there's so much going on and there's so much distractions going on around the actual game itself. And the game itself is also a distraction that it takes so much away. It's just over bloated. There's too much stuff that they need to, I hate to say the phrase, keep it simple, stupid, but you basically took something as simple as LeBron James playing basketball with Looney Tunes and basically his buddies as hardcore characters, and you just overly barfed out a whole bunch of garbage. On the other hand, it's still entertaining. It's still enjoyable in the same effect, but when you can kind of slow it down and just not get distracted by all the crowd of the fake cosplay WB characters and certain stuff like that. There are some funny moments. Like I said, Don Cheadle's having a blast and he's fun to watch. Cedric Joe as Dom James, I think, does a decent job. LeBron, when he gets into the actual Toon world and stuff like that, he gets better. But the first 15 minutes of this film, LeBron is god awful. But it's not the worst thing. I mean, if we're talking about between the two Space Jams, Space Jam keeps it simple, but Michael Jordan is a horrible actor. This one is over the top complicated and just all over the place, which is probably perfect for kids this age because they're just all ADHD all over the place. So this probably is going to work for them, whereas for people like us, we're like, can I slow this down and just watch this in slow-mo, which, yes, makes the movie longer, but I can at least see everything that's happening and what's going on. But by the end of the day, I didn't hate the film. It was just frustrating a lot of the time watching it because there's just too much going on, and the stakes get way too high, especially by the end of the game. It's like with the stakes at where they're at, it just seems like by the end of the game, it's still just a game. And if the stakes were as high as they're making it out to be, it should have a lot more importance to it. And for some reason, the importance of millions of lives does not feel evident in this film. So it's just, once again, they just threw too much at it. They should have just kept it more simple. But I still had fun, kind of, when it wasn't being overly bloated. This is also, for everyone who's wondering, this is on HBO Max for free, or you can go to the movie theaters to watch it. Kids are going to love it. Just like, when Space Jam came out 27 years ago. Us as kids, we loved it. Our parents and reviewers, they didn't like it. I think this is going to be kind of the same boat. Us as reviewers now, or older people, are probably not going to enjoy it as much, whereas kids are going to love it. If you're not a basketball fan, there's a lot of basketball jokes in here that you are not going to get. If you're a basketball fan, you're going to get a chuckle out of all the jokes that Bugs zings at Jordan or at LeBron. There's also a joke at halftime that teases something, and it ends up being this big kind of reveal. And if it will either work for you or it won't work for you. I was into it, and I was like, I know exactly where they're going with this, and it was still funny for me. It might piss off a lot of people. I actually was kind of all right with it because I knew what the other option was going to be. Overall, do I think you should go pay money to see this film? Absolutely not. If you have HBO Max, check it out. I mean, you're already paying for it, so what's a 2 hours of your time to watch Looney Tunes and LeBron and Don Cheadle play each other? Going overall score, I'm going to give it a 50%. It's a mess. Someone really needed to kind of go back over this and kind of just pull some stuff out and clean it up just to make it a little more tighter. But overall, it is technically a kid's film, so what are you going to do? There is no memorable music in this as well. You're not going to have I Believe I Can Fly or Welcome to the Jam. There's no memorable music in this film whatsoever. So if you want to feel that nostalgia feeling, go listen to the Space Jam soundtrack to feel like Space Jam again. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you guys did, go hit that like, share, and subscribe button to the channel so you guys stay up to date with all the latest videos that pop up on the Movie Crusaders. And of course, don't forget to follow us on all the social media outlets you see below. Coming up next, we have a review for the final film in the Fear Street trilogy, Fear Street Part 3, 1666. I'm also going to have a spoiler review for all three films as a whole. And then we may or may not have a review for Escape Room, Tournament of Champions. I have not decided whether or not I'm going to see it in theaters. And then, of course, next week, Brian Michaels and myself will be back for another episode of the Weekend Crusaders, where we talk about 5 movies that came out in movie history that weekend. So, yeah, be on the lookout for those videos. And until next time, in case I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Movie Crusaders.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.